It's been 4.5 months since Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky was, for all intents and purposes, kicked out of the White House, with President Trump telling him that he was gambling with World War III and that Ukraine's beleaguered military did not have any cards to play in its 40-month-old defensive war against Russia. What a difference 4.5 months make, as President Trump welcomed NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte to the White House to announce that the U.S. will be sending Ukraine, to use the president's words, billions of dollars worth of weapons via Washington's NATO allies.
The purpose of this is to say that this is a very big deal we've made. This is billions of dollars worth of military equipment is going to be purchased from the United States, going to NATO, etc. And that's going to be quickly distributed to the battlefield. Ukraine will take it up.
This is an announcement that Ukraine and its backers in Washington and in the West have long waited to hear, and it's also interestingly calculated to play to Trump's more Ukraine-skeptical base. Notice how Trump phrased the announcement, saying that Europe will pay for the weapons, or Ukraine will pay for the weapons, which will be manufactured in the United States. This speaks to two of his overriding principles in politics: getting the best deal and revitalizing American manufacturing. Now, there is a note of caution to be part of this announcement because we still don't know exactly what weapons are being sent over to Ukraine. Trump made a point of saying that Patriot missiles will be included, which will be a big boost to Ukraine's beleaguered air defenses to counteract Russian jets and drones and ballistic missiles. What's left unsaid is whether the U.S. will also send more offensive weapons that can strike deep into Russian territory. This is something that the Biden administration balked at, despite arguments that supplying those long-range weapons could provide Ukraine the initiative to strike deeper into Russian territory and really seize the initiative in the stalemated conflict. Monday's announcement represents something of an about-face for Trump, who really put a lot of his political capital into the idea that he could make peace between Russia and Ukraine almost immediately into his second term. All the evidence we have is that Trump was willing to play ball with Putin and take the Russian leader at face value. But as Trump himself summarized so nicely a couple of weeks ago, Putin talked a lot of BS, but kept bombing Ukraine.
We get a lot of bull thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth.
It made Trump, frankly, look a fool, and if there's one thing Donald Trump does not like, it's being made to look like a fool. So he was, I think over the last couple of weeks, he was more amenable to the arguments of people like Lindsey Graham and other internationalists in the Senate Republican caucus who really want the U.S. to go all in behind Ukraine and take all measures short of outright war with Russia to offer the Zelensky government their support. Since meeting with President Zelensky on the sidelines of Pope Francis's funeral back in late April, Trump has really tried hard to walk a middle way between Moscow and Kyiv. The Trump administration has pursued negotiations, pursued ideas for a possible ceasefire, while also speaking firmly to Russia about the consequences of what would happen if it continued to attack Ukraine, especially civilian targets inside Ukraine. Over the last couple weeks, as Russia has stepped up its aerial bombardment of various cities with ballistic missiles and drones, Trump's patience clearly ran out. He could obviously see no way forward short of loading Ukraine up with more weapons to really bloody Russia's nose and see the sense in coming to the table. Note the 50-day deadline which Trump announced before secondary tariffs on Moscow's business partners, including some nations that are usually aligned with the U.S. like India, would take effect. That's another example of him still trying to keep one foot in the middle way while leaning back towards Ukraine. He clearly wants to punish Russia for refusing to make serious peace offers while running down a long list of punishments that could go forward without actually harming America's economic interests.